Fine, so let us start with Testng. We'll see how to install, configure Testng, build test cases. Till now we have just seen how to use basic Selenium commands, but we have not been making the test cases. Right, and we will also see how to batch run the test cases, how to generate reports. Okay, reports like extend reports, which are very famous these days. Right, out here you have got these are extend reports. Okay, you can open this file in Google Chrome and you will have the extend reports generated. Right, so for example these all are the test cases, and it's for every test case you have the logs. Right, that is, I'm opening the browser, I'm navigating to this website, I'm clicking on this, and then in case there is some error, then you get this error message that we are unable to locate this element and all. Right, along with the screenshot of the error message you get it. Right, so this is extent reporting. Fine, and what happens is that to generate, it's not very difficult to generate these reports. You also have these reports in a different format. Okay, like this. So everything can be done by using Testng out here. Okay, right. So now let us see how we can do it. The first thing is that you have to understand why do we need to use Testng. Okay, till now we have seen the WebDriver scripts, right? Okay, Shakya, I haven't uploaded them yesterday, but today immediately after the class I will be uploading. I'm sorry about that. Okay, it totally went out of my mind, but today it will be in your account itself, right? So now what's there? It's like that. Why do we use Testng? Okay, right. So look, the thing is, when I have also told you before, I'll again repeat this. When you actually work practically, fine, you build your Selenium tests. These are suppose some test cases in Selenium, right? And you want to run them in a certain order, one by one, or you want to run them parallelly as well on Selenium GRID, or you want that some of the test cases should not execute, they should be skipped, and some of them should be executed, right? You want to read the data from the Excel file or a properties file, right? You want to generate some reports the way I showed you right now, extend reports and all. You want to put screenshots in the reports. You want to generate logs in the reports. It's very important. It's very important to have the logs in the reports, because the logs, they tell us what happened at each and every minute when the script was running. Okay, right. So you need to do all those things. Fine, right. So also we would like to integrate it with Jenkins. Fine. So integrate the complete framework. So we use a centralized controller and we use Testng, we use JUnit. Okay, people also use BDD. So in this training I'll be covering Testng. If you want to study about JUnit or BDD, Cucumber and all that stuff, right, what you can do is that you can go here, log in into your account, go to the website qtpselenium.com, and you can just go under JUnit training, which is module 8. You can have a look at that. Or if you want to study about Cucumber BDD, then modules 41 and 42 out here are on Cucumber. Okay, right. So this is how it works. Fine. So we use a centralized controller which controls everything. Fine. Okay. And it will call the test cases in a certain order. It will read the data from the Excel file. It will generate the report, screenshots. Integrating in Jenkins also, it will help you. Okay. Right. So now how do we work with this? Right. So the first thing right, the first thing is that um, you need to install Testng. Okay, to install Testng, you can just type Testng Eclipse and search for it. Okay, the first link, click on that. Okay, it will take you to the website. Testng gets added as a plugin inside Eclipse. Right, click on this link over here, install the plugin. Right, it will take you to the next page. Fine, and you know, I hope this is the link, right? Okay, I hope everybody has the latest version of Eclipse, right? Copy this link, fine, and go to Eclipse, right? In Eclipse, go to Help, install new software. Okay, paste the link over here and hit the enter button of the keyboard. Okay, Testng will come up and keep on clicking next, next, next. It will be installed as a plugin. Right. If you face any issues while installation, right, then sometimes you get an error in between, but ignore that error and you can continue. But if the installation completely fails, fine, then make sure that you are using the Luna version of Eclipse because Testng works the best with it. Okay, right. Now, once you have installed Testng, you can go to Window, Show View, and Other, and you should have, and under Java you should have Testng coming up. If this icon for Testng is coming up under Java, that means Testng has been successfully installed. Meanwhile, sometimes it can give you an issue, right? Okay, if you want to download Eclipse Luna, you can just go to Google and type download Eclipse Luna, right? This is the first link, eclipse.org/Luna. You can download it from here. Okay, when you go to this, it's written Luna is the past version of Eclipse. Please visit a download for the latest version. It's okay, right? So you can just download Eclipse Luna from here. Okay, if you click on this download link, fine. So over here now, uh, the next thing, I'll make a new project over here. Okay, test ng underscore tutorial. This is our day 12, right? Day 12 of the training. Right. Now in Testng you build test cases, right? For example, under the source folder I am going to create a package known as test cases. A package is like a folder inside the folder. So a test cases package is like a folder inside the source folder. Okay, and in this I'll create a new class, login test. Fine, and in login test you can have the function @test. This is known as an annotation. Okay, there is no main function in testng. Okay, you have got annotations. @test, say I'll write over here public void do login. Fine. So what happens is that do login means that this function is becoming a test case, right? If you write @test over here above this function, then this function becomes a test case. @test is giving you an error. You just move the mouse over here and add the testng library in the project. You click on it and testng library will be added. It is nothing but it is having testng jar file. Fine. Then you move the mouse over @test and import the testng annotation. Right. Okay. So this becomes your test case. Okay. Fine. Now if you have to run this as a blank program, you can run it. You can right click on login test. You can say run as testng. Test option will be visible to you, right? So when you run it, it gets executed. So there's a tab in Eclipse, results of running the class. You'll see login test is in green, it is passing. In console it will show you that total test runs are 1, failures are 0 and skips are 0. So this is just a blank test case. So inside it you can write your WebDriver code, which we will be writing, okay, and validate stuff and all, whatever you want to do. Okay, fine. Now this test case, fine, similar to this test case, like I can write over here, hold on, system.out.println login test. Fine. Similar to this test case, we can have multiple other test cases in the single Java file also. Right. For example, I'll make another test @test public void do password change. Okay. And then another test case, public void do logout. Okay, right. And in every test case I can write change password test and logout test. So when I run this, you will see that there are 3 test cases, failures are 0, skips are 0, all 3 have executed. Okay, right, it is printing login test, logout test and change password. Now this is a little bit confusing. The logout test is mentioned in the end, but still it is executing before the change password test. Okay, in the file it is at the end. Look, the order will never be the same. Don't think the order of execution of the test cases would be from top to bottom. Okay, it is never like that. Okay, you can prioritize your test cases. Okay, you can write over here priority equals to 1, then priority equals to 2, then priority equals to 3. This is how you can serialize your test cases, right? You have to give the priority to every test case. So the one with the lower priority, like higher priority, priority equals to 1, would be executed first. Fine. So when I run this code, now if you look at the output, see that login test, change password and logout test. So it executes as per the priority. Fine. You can also do one thing. You can write over here you can put dependency. For example, if the login test is failing, then what will happen to the other ones? Other ones should not be executed, right? So I'm going to talk about dependency and all everything. Fine. What we do is that we use assertions first of all for validations. Let's talk about validations first and then we'll talk about dependencies. Right. So what we do is that in testing, automation testing, we use assertions. Look, what is testing? Testing is comparison of actual data and expected data, right? Okay, so suppose you have the actual data coming up from the application, maybe driver.find element dot get title. You get the title, you get the actual title, right? Okay, and you have some expected title which you will be reading from the Excel file. Yesterday we talked about reading Excel files, right? Okay, so you have the actual and expected data and you have to compare both of them and fail this test case if both of them do not match. Fine. So what we do is that we use assertion. There is a assert class Okay, right, it's got many functions. Static, all the functions in this class are static. Right, you can just write assert dot, you will get the function assert equals. Fine. Okay, so you can give the actual data, so I'll write actual and the expected data over here. Right, and when you run it, you will see that the login test is failing. Fine, rest 2 are passing, which should not be the case, because obviously if the login has failed, how can password and logout execute? But still, okay, login test has failed because expected and actual did not match. Had it been matching, right, it would have thrown no error and it would have simply passed. Okay, right. Now this is assertion. There is one more assertion function. You can write assert dot assert true. Fine. Now assert dot assert true means you have to give some condition and message. The condition should evaluate to true. For example, 6 greater than 2. And this is actually the error message. I'll tell you what it means. Guys, one more thing. Make sure that you import the assert class from org.testng.assert. Many times people end up importing from JUnit, okay, and it creates a problem. Right, import it from Testng because JUnit has also got an assert. Right, now you assert true 6 greater than 2. Right, so this condition is true, so this assertion will pass. If this condition evaluates to false, 6 greater than 12 is false, and I am asserting true over here. Assert true means that make sure this condition is true. Then an error message would be thrown. Okay, test will fail. Okay, and see that error message is written in the assertion error over here. Whatever is the error message, you can give that. Right, this type of assertion is used a lot. For example, we had studied about a function like is element present, remember? You used to send the XPath of the element. Right, if the element is not present on the page, you can throw the error message that element not found. If this function returns you a false, right, you can throw the error message that element is not found on the page. Right, okay, sometimes you are in a situation or you come across a scenario or you reach such a page where you know that and you are 100% confident that the test has failed. Okay, over there you can write assert dot fail directly. This will simply fail the test case. Or you can write assert dot fail with certain message. Whatever error message you have to write, you can give that. Look, I am teaching you theoretically about Testng. I am teaching you the functions of it. I'll use WebDriver with it. Okay, just be with me. Fine. So you can write assert dot fail and you can give the error message as well. And this error message will be coming in the reports. Okay, right. Now, look, there is one thing about assertions, right? If I print over here A and if I print over here B, if I run this program, this will print A, but this will not print B. If the assertion fails, The test case fails and the flow, it simply stops on this line. Okay, the flow will simply stop on this line. Right, it will not move further on. Right, now sometimes what happens is that your validations are not so critical. You are asserting, say, some text on the page. Okay, and anybody having any questions? I think somebody was trying to ask a question. No question? Right. Now, sometimes the criticality is not so high. For example, I am checking this text over here, suppose. Right. And I am not able to find this text. Right. I want to fail the assertion. Right. But I don't want the program to stop over there. Okay. At that point of time, we use soft assertions. Right. Okay, you want that the error should be reported but the flow should continue, right? So at that time we use soft assertions. I will talk about it in some time, but I'm just giving you an idea right now. Right. So this is about assertions. You can use them to compare values, right? If the assertion fails, the program stops, the test fails. Right, soft assertion I will talk about, right? You have functions like assert equals, assert true, and directly fail, which will fail the test case. Fine. Okay, now if the test case is failing, if I run this code, if the test case is failing, right, if the login test fails, right, the test case, yes, the test case stops completely, fine. But the next two tests, they execute. See, do password change and do logout test cases, they are executing. We don't want them to execute. Okay, so what we do is that I write over here that the password change test is depends on methods. I can give the method name as do login. That means that this test case is dependent on the do login test. If it is failing, then this will not be executed, it will be skipped. And logout test is dependent on do login and say the password change as well, so you put a comma and make it dependent on both of them. If any one of them fails or skips, this will also skip. Right. So when you run now, you will see that in the results, do login is failing, do password change and do logout, they are skipping. Okay. Right. So this is how your login test it executes. Fine. Now what about what about the scenario, right, where I have to skip a test case deliberately? Suppose I don't want to run the login test, I want to skip it. Fine. In that case, if you deliberately want to skip the test, just a minute, you can write a line inside it, throw new skip exception. Skipping the test. Right? Okay, so you deliberately throw a skip exception and when you run it, you will see that the login test skips, and because it has not executed, password and logout have also skipped. Okay, so we saw about assertions, what they can do, how you can skip the test cases. Right. Okay. So when you work real time, you actually expect actual value will come up from the Excel file, sorry, from the application with the help of WebDriver, and expected value you will read from properties file or the Excel file. Fine. Minal, I will not show the WebDriver example right now because I need to teach the concept of Testng first, and then once Testng is over, I will teach with WebDriver. Okay, right. So these are few of the concepts, right? That you make the test annotations, you prioritize the test cases, you make the test cases in a single file dependent on each other. Okay, you can put up assertions, fine, and you can skip the test cases as well. Fine. Okay. Now, what about batch running the test cases, parameterizing the test cases, right? And what about the other annotations of Testng? Fine. So, Minal, yesterday I told you the properties file, right? How to read the properties file in day 11, right? I told you you have to write the same code to read the properties file out here as well. Okay, right. Now, out here, as we proceed, as we do other, as we go on day 13, 14, 15, right, you will, picture will be more clear in front of you. Okay, right. Now, um, what are the other annotations? There are other annotations in Testng as well. Like for example, you want to do something before the test case starts. Okay, right. You want to open the browser before any of the test cases starts. Right. So you can have the annotation like before test, public void I can write before test. Right. So probably over here you can open the browser. Why? Because if I type over here before test, okay, right. So what will happen is that when you run it, you will see that this annotation will run in the very beginning. Okay, let me now not skip the test case, login test, let me not skip it. Let me just print it normally, and when you run it, you will see that all the three test cases they execute. Okay, and before test is coming before executing all the three tests. So if you have some things like connecting to database or opening a browser and all, you can do that before starting the test cases, right? And there is something known as after test. As the name suggests, this will execute after executing all the test cases, right? When I run this, you see that before test in the beginning, after, maybe in after test you can generate reports, or you can not exactly generate reports, you can finalize the reports, you can close the browser, whatever you want. Okay, but for time being, understand the fact that before test is executed before executing all the test cases, and after test is executed after executing all the test cases, right? Similarly, there are other annotations as well. At the rate, the location of these annotations, they don't matter whether I put it in the beginning or the end of the file or in between, the order will be same. Okay, there are other annotations like before method. Okay, right, I will print in it. Yeah, they should be in the same file. Before method. What this annotation will do is that when you run it, this annotation will run hold on, hold on. Okay, nothing is executing, just a minute. I run it and it runs, just a minute. Right, it's working now. I don't know what happened. Right, so before method is executed, before each and every test in the file is executed. Before test is just in the beginning. Before method is executed before each and every test. And similarly, you have got after method. Okay, you have got after method annotation. Look, I cannot tell you the practical utility of these right now, okay, because I am just teaching you the concept, okay, but as we proceed, right, you will come to know. Fine, so I'll just write over here after method. So when you run it, you will see that before method and after method they are executed before and after executing each of the functions. Fine. Okay, right. So we will use these, majorly these annotations are used. There are many other annotations in Testng as well. Okay, you can play with the other annotations. You can right click on the project, on the package, you can create a new, then select other. In other, you will see the option Testng, and when you try to create a new Testng class, you will see so many methods, annotations and all. Okay, right, but majorly whatever I have taught you right now, they are used. Right, now at the rate data provider, this is one of the annotations which is again very important. It is helpful in parameterizing the test cases. Right,